All right. So let's just give everyone a moment to tune back in. All right. Let's just give it another moment.
It's like too much content.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and begin. Carri, thank you so much for joining me today. I thought I'd love to just start off mentioning why it is that I have Carri here joining me for our 30 Minutes with M. Carri is the owner of a beautiful restaurant called Harvest Room. It is my favorite restaurant in the southwest suburbs because of all the beautiful missions that they have with how they go about getting their ingredients and their food, and a lot of that is really important to me. And Harvest Room has been doing such a good job to stay very humane and loving with their food and how they provide it, and such a beautiful background. And I thought that having her join you guys would be just perfect, because I know so many of you guys also live a beautiful and healthy lifestyle, and I think you'd really appreciate what Carri and her husband do with Harvest Room. So Carri, maybe we can just start off with you introducing yourself and maybe mentioning a little bit how Harvest Room came about and a little bit about Harvest Room as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I just want to say thank you for having us here. It's wonderful for us to, cross promote as small businesses.
Yeah.
Is hard, especially in this time.
Definitely, yeah.
And just want to make sure you can hear me okay. If I can't, just stop me.
Yeah,
But
we can hear you just fine, but if anyone can't hear that well, please go ahead and just comment that you can't. I did notice that I'm getting notifications, so let me just go ahead and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. There we go. Okay. So yeah, please mention if you can't hear Carri that well. We'll definitely adjust as needed. Go ahead, Carri.
So Harvest Room in Palos Heights, we've been here for a little over 7 years now. We are a farm to table from scratch restaurant. We have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we also have a second location that opened almost 2 years ago in Munster, Indiana. And that one is just breakfast and lunch. Okay. Our concept over here is real simple. It's just it's clean eating. It's from the farm to your table, grass fed, grass finished, free range, non-GMO eggs, antibiotic free chicken. And we just try to make everything we can, as much as we can, from scratch with little preservatives, no preservatives if we're making it. And if we bring any type of items in that are traditionally preserved, such as like bacon or sausage or hot dogs, it'll be a nice nitrate free type of preservative. And then we also try to utilize as many local vendors as possible. One of our farmers is right out of Chicago Ridge, and they supply us with during the growing season, about maybe 60 to 70% of our produce. And then we have our egg farmer, which is right in Iowa and Wisconsin. We get our beef from, and so we just try to utilize local vendors as much as we can, and also from scratch. Really, that's kind of the heart of it, is from scratch.
Yeah, that is so beautiful that you're staying within the community and staying away from what's the word from
conventional.
Yes.
Conventional farming is really what we try to just promote small.
So what is the just for anyone who may not know, like, why you chose from like farm to table as opposed to the other going to like factories and everything, what are the benefits? Like, where is there a difference in like flavor, which I can definitely say there is so much more flavor in the food that you guys serve and have, as opposed to any other restaurant I've ever been to. But can you maybe just mention why you chose to kind of go about in that way? What is it about the food, or what is it about that whole system that you're creating that is attractive to you and makes you want to offer that?
Yeah. So really one of the main reasons we went with farm to table is just because that's how we lived before we opened the restaurant. That was our family lifestyle. We got our meat from local farmers, eggs, our raw milk.
Yeah.
And we just try to do everything as local as possible. So when we decided to open the restaurant, it was kind of it was a little bit of back and forth, and we, at the heart of it was a real natural kids menu. Honestly, that's what it was. And we worked with healthy fare for kids, but we created this wild child menu, and we just want to make sure, because going out to restaurants with our children, it was, I have to bring my own strawberries, I have to bring my own meat, I have to bring everything myself. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great if we could just have this place where we have natural food for kids, awesome cocktails, and a great atmosphere for the adults. And so the kids menu kind of snowballed into, well, let's just make everything as natural as possible, and let's see if we can do it. And we did. And then the benefit of that is also keeping it local. It's not only putting money back into local farms, but it's also lowering a carbon footprint on many levels of travel time. It's also getting fresher produce rather than it having to travel, a couple of days to get here and sit on shelves. Like it's pretty ripe, and at that point in time, it's just more nutritious as well. And then getting into the meat side of it, it's a little bit more humane as well, because the farmers we choose raise them humanely. They raise their animals like animals should be raised, which is not the way that conventional farmers raise animals in America.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. It truly does offer a lot more just love in the food. You know what I mean? When the animals are fed nutritious foods and they're treated with love. I truly believe that animals can, they carry stress. I mean, they feel, and then we take that in ourselves, and then we have this energy of just stress, and it can affect the body in so many ways. And I bet that the meat is just so much more
it's more nutritious. We actually get more vitamins out of it, but you're absolutely right. There's empirical evidence about the stress and how we end up consuming that stress. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, we also have a full vegan menu and a gluten-free menu. And we try to, we just get as much feedback as we can from customers about what they want to see. And, the gluten-free menu started out with, let's have some gluten-free pancakes. And it literally snowballed into this very large menu with, dietary restrictions and ingredients and everything that obviously gluten-free need to have. And it was another, as well as a farm to table from scratch concept that was kind of desired in the South Side. The gluten-free was overlooked as well. And so it's kind of one of those things, if you build it, they will come. And a lot of our customers have been awesome and super loyal and great with feedback. So our menu has just consistently gotten better for the vegan and the gluten-free, with what works, what doesn't work, what we should sub in, what we should take out.
Yeah, you guys have so many options. I'm mainly vegetarian, but I am more like vegetarian, vegan, kind of bounce around from those two. That's typically my diet. And oh my gosh, your options are there's such a large variety, and it's so heart-filling to come into a space where there's all these options, and someone who has more of a restricted diet, it's so great to see that I can have a variety of things to choose from, rather than just one option or two options, and I have a question about the vegan meat that you make. It's so good. What is the main compound to that? Just curious if you don't mind.
The chicken?
Yeah, it's so delicious.
So the chicken, that one is the current chicken that we have ends up being a soy protein.
Okay.
Now the one that we had before that was a Beyond Chicken, but they actually stopped producing it. And that was pea protein and soy. Okay. But the chicken is fantastic. We have a lot of people that are like, I asked for the vegan chicken, and we're like, no, it is. I swear it is. We don't. Our regular chicken doesn't look like that. That was a really great product that we ended up finding. And then even the Beyond Beef. The Beyond Beef product is really fantastic. It's a burger, and that one is that one's just a pure pea protein. Okay. And then we switched from tofu. Like I said, we got some feedback. The tofu was just not good, and we just couldn't really pull it off, even though we seasoned it with a couple different things, nutritional yeast and stuff. So we ended up bringing that just egg product, which is a mung bean. It's just made out of mung beans, another type of protein. Okay. And that one's fantastic too. It scrambles up like a real kind of egg texture, and the flavor is fantastic as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, it is such a good flavor, and the consistency and the texture and just, oh my gosh, everything about it. I love it. Um, I'm wondering a little bit of how was it like finding like the right farmers? I feel like nowadays a lot of farmers have a hard time, with sourcing their, or not sourcing, but offering their product, just because of the industry and just the way everything is functioning, and a lot of farmers end up just not being able to succeed. How was it finding the right farms, and how was that experience, and what did you see, you know what I mean, in a way of
Yeah,
like,
at first it was really hard because us trying to find a farmer that's going to deliver in the South Side and not Chicago. Us trying to find a farmer that could provide us for as much as we needed, being breakfast and lunch, not just a nice, farm to table dinner place. It's breakfast and lunch, and we have a lot of covers that come in through the week. So us finding it was pretty hard. Luckily, we actually found them here at the Palos Heights Farmers Market. We called out a lot of people, and also it's not just finding them, because a lot of the farmers that are growing organically or are certified organic are more, call it like a craft farmer. Like they're making their money at the farmers market where there's no middlemen. They're putting the work in, they're going to the farmers market, they're selling it, and they don't necessarily want to discount it to the rates that we can pay. And so we needed to find a farmer that was big enough, that was willing to work with us, and us still be able to get our produce at a good price that was raised organically, and then be able to turn it around to offer to customers, because, in the location we're at, we can't really sell our food for Chicago prices. So we were very lucky. And I'm not sure if I said, but our main farmer is Zeldin Rust Farms. They're right out of Chicago Heights. And so we've had a really great relationship with them for years. And like I said, it was pretty tough in the beginning. We probably sent feelers out to hundreds of people, getting price lists and this and that. And it just ended up working out really nice and organically. Organically.
I bet you've impacted so many people through this, rather than going to the middlemen, like who you're working with. I'm sure that, the exchange you guys do supports like their personal life, not some sort of middleman, but it's like you're literally paying for this person to like feed their children. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a benefit of using small or using local vendors.
Yeah.
And I can say this now because especially in this time, we are truly seeing the impact of what supporting local families can do. Because right now, if it wasn't for the support of our loyal customers, we wouldn't be here right now. And we have the people who are happy to come out and to still support us, even though they can make it at home. And dining in is an experience. Most of the time when you go to, when you're going out, you want an experience. You want to dine in an experience. And so taking it to go and bring it home is not the same experience, but we still have people supporting us, and that's really great. And so when we're able to support the local vendors, even a small amount, everything helps. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And it's truly felt. Like it's felt in your customer service. It's felt in the food. And I leave feeling so good about myself, because I just know I supported, a small business. I know I supported a farm, a local farm, and not some sort of middleman where you don't even know where the money's going, and I have no problem spending money, on a local, whatever it is, what I mean?
And that's part of the concept. And we love customers like you that really get it. They get it from A to Z, and we have a good amount of customers come in because they like it, because, the food's creative. The items are, different and interesting. We have a good amount that come in purely for the concept of, I only eat grass-fed, I only, non-GMO, and from scratch. I don't want any preservatives or unnecessary, whatever in my food. And then we have another percentage that come in that's dietary restrictions. They need to have it exactly this way, and you guys can do it. And we couldn't be luckier to have the customer base that we do. We're honestly very grateful for that.
Yeah. That's so awesome. I'm so happy for you, and just for everyone who has found Harvest Room, so I hope that through this, anyone who has not discovered Harvest Room, please do. get some takeout, especially during this time, support. The food is beautiful, and the mission is absolutely cosmic, just exactly what we need in this planet right now. So how long have you guys been open? Actually, I forgot to ask that. I'm wondering.
And this location, it has been a little over 7 years.
7 years, okay. And then you have another location in Indiana or Michigan, is it?
Indiana, Munster, okay. Indiana. And that one is going on 2 years in September.
Okay. Awesome. And why did you guys decide to go over there? What's
in Munster?
Yeah.
You know, we were approached by a developer who took this really beautiful piece of land as Munster Steel. It was an old steel mill plant, and they raised it and they put up a couple different buildings. It's right next to it's called Centennial Village is the development we're in, but it's right next to Centennial Park, which is a beautiful park over there. Bike trails, walking trails, little stairs to run up, a kids park. They have an amphitheater there, so it's very nice to have that as our backdrop. Over at that location, we actually have a patio, which is beautiful, which we obviously don't have over here, but it's a very nice patio, which is nice. It's different. In this location, we chose this location. It's right by the house. We actually live like 4 minutes from here. But we took over an older location, and that the Munster is brand new from the ground up, and it's very different atmosphere, but similar food. I think we try to keep a couple items different at each location, a couple cocktails different, and just so if somebody goes there, it's not always the same food. They can get a little bit something different over there.
Yeah.
Now, and Munster is actually, while our Illinois location probably won't be open until late June, I think, at the governor's discretion, our Munster location is open tentatively next Wednesday. So Wednesday, the 20th, Wednesday, May 20th.
Okay, wonderful. And speaking of cocktails, I know that when we chatted the other day, you were mentioning how you're really diving into working with herbs, or you've been just really working with herbs a lot. And I know you mentioned CBD and all sorts of teas that eventually you said fused into like cocktails that are more natural and tasty. Can we talk a little bit about that? I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, so the teas kind of came about, again, in my pre-restaurant life. I used medicines they learned from my sister to take different teas and just make medicines out of them for the kids, cough medicines, elderberry syrups, all the rage now, but that's pretty much what we were using for the kids when they got sick, plus some other different herbs, for the medicinal benefits. And so when we opened the restaurant here, it's like a big stretch, why don't we try to do some teas? Maybe we can invest a couple $100 on all these bags of teas. And so my sister and I came up with a line called Two Sisters Brews, and we created, I think, about 14 different teas. And they're so popular, we sell it more than like beer here, dollar for dollar. And then with the cocktails being, from scratch, like every cocktail we make is our own recipe and, kind of infusion. And so we started using the herbs in there. So almost, I think every single cocktail we have has some type of our tea or herb infused into it, or with a simple syrup infused with it.
Yeah.
And which offers natural flavor. Again, it's from scratch, so just tastes better. And then it also has some medicinal benefits. Certain ones, like we have a super famous cocktail called the Booty Collins. And that one we infuse an organic passion fruit green tea with vodka, but we also add this herb called Damiana. It's an herbal aphrodisiac. We infuse that in the vodka as well. And then we add yohimbe bark. It's another libido enhancer aphrodisiac. I'm sorry, one second.
No worries.
I don't know if that came up or not. So in that cocktail is 2 natural aphrodisiacs, and that's a very popular one. And then, like you said, CBDs are our farmer Zeldin Russ is actually growing hemp as well. So she has a plethora of CBD, and we're starting to work that into everything. We had CBD cocktails on the menu on our last menu when we were open, as well as mocktails. So we have a lot of non-alcoholic drinks as well that we can do, especially with these beautiful syrups. We do like this hibiscus, rose hip, lemon balm syrup, and a nice lemon verbena simple syrup. So we can make mocktails out of those too, which are popular.
Mm-hmm.
And so now with working with our farmer again, now we're bringing in CBDs straight from the herb. And so here in the kitchen, we cook it down into a syrup. And so I think one of the cocktails we're going to have is called cherry balm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a cherry and a lemon balm infusion that we can make lemonades with CBD.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be lemonades. We can do Moscow mules. I think we're going to do a cherry bounce, which is like a bourbon drink, and then also a cherry catnip mojito.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun too.
Oh, you can really make use of herbs in so many different ways. Medicine, cocktails, teas. Yeah. Any other ways you're using the herbs, or any ideas that have sparked it all more through that, the more you dove into it, or anything you've like learned that was surprising with working with herbs and stuff?
You're kind of cutting out a little bit, but I think you asked if there's anything else we're doing with the herbs or surprising working with them.
Yeah, that, and if there's anything that you've learned along the way working through herbs, like working with herbs, if anything has come up that you may have discovered through infusing them in all different ways.
Honestly, in general, just how amazing herbs are, just how they really do work, how, you can just take something as simple. I'll go to lemon balm because I've said it twice so far, and lemon balm is such an easy herb to grow. It's like a mint, so it's very invasive once you get it growing. But lemon balm is an analgesic, so it's like a pain reliever, but it's really good for cramps or headache or helping the kids go to sleep. Catnip too. Catnip, everybody knows what catnip is and what it is, and it makes cats go crazy, but for humans it calms us down. So all these different herbs, once we put them in, and it sparks people to ask, like, what are you using catnip for in this mojito? And then we talk about it and they're like, oh wow. And some of the really cool benefits that I learned about just the different herbs compared with alcohol is similar to like with the CBDs, there's this entourage effect of where once you're able to put a couple different herbs together with alcohol, or herbs together with hemp or cannabis, it all kind of pairs together and it creates this really beneficial package to your body, because we have all these receptors that work when we combine things together.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. From day one, we've also had this drink on here. It's like we call it the Great Defender. It's under the tea menu. It's more like a ginger lemonade with a kick. So it's ginger, cayenne, cinnamon, lemon, and honey. So it's all real nice. We don't boil it, and it's great for inflammation. And we had people that buy it by the quart because, like, it helps them. It's the inflammation, the anti-inflammatory of the ginger that helps them. They come back, and I remember we had a customer that said, I haven't slept in 14 years. And I don't know if it was just you talking to me or if it's what you have here, but I'm buying it. You come back and buy, a bottle of it, like a gallon of it, probably every week for an entire year.
Wow.
Yeah. And sometimes that's what it is. People don't realize how great herbs are. Just a natural, alternative to certain things.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes we forget to come back to the basics, and I feel like that's exactly what you guys are doing, is like you're really coming down to like the rawness and the basics of like how
that's funny you say that, because literally since day one I have, every time we've had an interview, I'm like, it's just back to basics. That's all it is. It is literally how probably not even your grandmother, but your great grandmother used to do things. We got the meat, we're cooking it, here you go. Oh, you have a stomach ache or a headache, instead of going for an aspirin, I'm making you some chamomile lavender tea. Whatever it is literally just back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates a kind of the title of this podcast is really it. It's your mind and your body, and it's help from within for everything. We're all linked. We're all we're all linked.
Yes, 100%. What was the most what's the word? I want to say satisfying or accomplishing, or like the most heartfelt experience you've gotten out of all of this, like these last 7 years? Like what was that, like, this is it, like we're doing the right thing because you've noticed this or that, or you know what I mean? People. Like what did it?
I
What
will say
was
that
that drive?
probably happened only recently, just because, as you know, being a small business owner is no easy feat. It's very tough, and we have small kids, and we had children throughout the process, and all of that was very, mentally and physically tough. I can't think of the word right now.
Yeah, yeah.
In the end, once you kind of go year after year and things get a little bit easier, and I think it was, again, just this past year, we've always had customers that complimented us, but it really was felt, and it was just like, day after day, week after week, and it was before the COVID, and just everyone just kept saying it. I'm like, and I allowed myself to really hear the compliments and accept the compliments. And I realized, I feel like we have made a small impact on the community. We've allowed, or we've provided a location where people can come, and if they want to eat healthy, they can. And if they want to come and talk shop with the owner about herbs or whatever else, there's a platform for it. And that people are just happy that we're here. And especially now, like moving forward, we both feel that the support that we have from our customers is just, that is it. Like that's where we're feeling it right now.
Oh,
it's just, it's overwhelming. They're so very generous for not only coming out here, but for supporting our staff up front. We really feel the love, and it's in a time where it's very sad and stressful, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. We're so grateful at this exact moment.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I really tuned in, I think, at the perfect time. And I think you mentioned that, you're making a small impact on the community, but know that you are truly making like a big impact to each individual, even if it's a small community or not. But I can say on a personal level, like you guys have made a large impact on me, and I've struggled finding places I can eat out at. It's not always necessarily about eating out, but I'm really for supporting small businesses, especially now that I've become a small business owner just under 2 years. And I'm like realizing like, oh my gosh, like it is important to support your local small businesses.
Right.
So I just feel
even you doing this, even doing the podcast, like that's what it is. It's, it's just, small business support, sister, brother support. We're all, we're all in it together. We're one community just trying to survive and make it work and do more than survive, live,
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that. And I think what you're doing is so beautiful, and you're making a very large impact to every individual that I know steps through that door, giving them such a beautiful experience. And I'm sure so many people have discovered so much just through experiencing your food and the herbs and everything. I've definitely noticed that there's so much more flavor that there could be so much more flavor in certain foods. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this specific vegetable or whatever, meal can have that much flavor. It's like I've discovered so much just through experiencing what you guys have on your menu. It really expanded my awareness of how much quality food could have, and in this day and age, like so many nutrients are depleted, out of food. And just like there's somewhere
absolutely.
where I read or I watched something, I don't know how true it is, but it said to have just as much vitamins from an orange, you'd have to have like 10 oranges today, and like just one orange whatever amount of years ago, just to try to like even out
that's part of buying local. That's part of making sure that your tomato was picked, to this morning. When the farmers come in, they pick it in the morning and they come in, or they pick it the night before. It's not something that was picked, a week ago, sitting on the shelves to ripen. Like that's the benefit. And then you get those digestive enzymes, and it's just better for your body. It's holistically, it's a better approach to using local and eating local, and, it's a whole nother segment to talk about in just food in general.
And all that energy is still within the food. It's still like alive, that's amazing.
Absolutely. I know, it's beautiful.
Can you share with us where, like, your address, your location, maybe how we can?
So our Palos Heights location is located on the corner of 127th and Harlem. and that's just right across from the Jewel in Palos Heights. And then our Munster location is literally 25 minutes from Palos Heights. It's really not far. You jump on the highway, exit number 1 in Indiana, Calumet, and you go south, and it's just a couple miles down on your left-hand side. So it's a real nice, it's a quick trip, especially if you're looking to get out and still enjoy our food, but now you can do it for the next month and a half. There's a park next door. Go get some exercise, maybe do some tailgating if you don't feel comfortable eating in. Yeah, and it's beautiful over there, and thank you for having us, and we really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much, Carri. And maybe sometime in the future we could tune in again and discuss another topic or something. If anyone has any questions, please drop down any questions. And in case Carri won't see them, or, you know, I'll pass them on to her, and maybe we can get some questions answered if anyone has anything they'd like to know more about. But thank you so much, Carri, for joining, and you guys support Harvest Room, support your small local businesses. Definitely now is the time to do so, you know, so I hope that you guys have gotten a little bit of something out of this. My heart is definitely full. Thank you so much, Carri, again, for tuning in.
Thank you.
And you have a beautiful rest of your day, and everyone else as well. Thank you all for tuning in. Bye, Carri.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.